The first sign that something was wrong was the wind. It did not sound like normal desert wind that day. It was lower, almost like a long breath moving through the date palms near the main house. The workers at the estate said the wind always changed when the sun was about to set, but Mina had lived there only 3 days, and she already felt the place watching her like a quiet stranger. She stood on the wide stone porch with her hands wrapped around a cup of tea she had not tasted. The desert stretched out in every direction, pale gold under the late light. In the far distance, dark hills sat like sleeping animals. The estate was large, too large for one person, and still it felt empty in a way that made her chest tight. Her husband, Karim, had called this place peace. He used to say it with a smile that made Mina believe him. Now he was gone, and the estate did not feel peaceful at all. Behind her, the house was still full of moving boxes and quiet echoes. Mina had not unpacked much. She had not even chosen which bedroom to sleep in. Every room held a memory, and every memory was sharp. She kept telling herself she came for answers, not comfort. She heard footsteps on the gravel path below, and turned. Nabil, the caretaker, was walking toward her with a slow, careful pace. He was older, with sun-dark skin and a hat that looked as old as his patience. Mina had noticed that he never hurried, even when he was worried. That made his worry harder to ignore. "Madam," he said, stopping at the bottom step. Mina hated the word madam. It made her feel like a stranger in her own life. "Call me Mina," she said again. Nabil gave a small nod, but his eyes stayed cautious. "Mina, there is something you should see." Mina felt a small chill run across her arms. "What is it?" He hesitated, then reached into his shirt pocket and took out a key. Not a normal house key. It was heavy and old, with a thick, square head and a mark stamped into the metal, like a tiny sun. "I found it in the tool shed," Nabil said. "It was inside a box. The box was locked. But I have worked here many years. I know how to open old locks." Mina looked at the key as if it might bite. Why was it locked away? Nabil swallowed. "Your husband did not want anyone to ask questions." The wind moved again, and Mina felt her grip tighten around her cup. Karim had secrets. She knew that. Everyone has some. But the way Nabil said it made Mina feel like the desert itself had been hiding something. "Where does it go?" she asked. Nabil did not answer right away. He motioned with his chin toward the far side of the courtyard, where a low stone building sat half in shadow. It looked like a storage house or an old stable. Mina had walked past it twice already. It looked ordinary. But now, under the lowering sun, it looked like a closed mouth. "It goes there," Nabil said quietly. Mina set her cup down. Her heart beat hard once, then settled into a steady rhythm that felt like a warning drum. "Show me," she said. They crossed the courtyard together. Mina's shoes clicked against the stone. The air smelled like dry earth and something faintly sweet, maybe from the nearby orange trees Karim had insisted on planting, even though everyone said oranges did not like this heat. Nabil reached the low building first. A metal door sat at the center, painted a faded green. Mina had tried it before. It had not budged. Nabil slid the old key into the lock. It turned with a rough sound, like the door was waking up after a long sleep. The door opened slowly. Inside was darkness and cooler air. Mina stepped in, and her eyes adjusted. The room was plain. Empty shelves. Stacked sacks of feed. Old tools hanging neatly on a wall. It was not the secret she had expected. Mina looked at Nabil. "This is just storage." Nabil did not meet her eyes. He walked to the far wall and knelt beside a wooden chest that Mina had not noticed at first because it blended into the shadows. He tapped the chest with his knuckles. "Under this," he said. Mina's throat went dry. "Under it." Nabil stood and pulled the chest aside with a grunt. Beneath it, there was a flat iron ring set into the stone floor. Mina stared at the ring. "That wasn't here before." "It has always been here," Nabil said. It was only covered. Always covered. Mina crouched and ran her fingers over the stone around the ring. The floor was dusty, but the ring itself was cleaner than the rest, like it had been touched more recently than anyone wanted to admit. You said Karim didn't want questions, Mina said. Nabil's voice grew softer. He was kind. But he had a line. If someone stepped near it, he became another man. Mina did not answer. She wrapped her fingers around the ring and pulled. At first it did not move. Then it gave slightly, and the stone shifted. Mina pulled harder. A square slab lifted upward with a scrape, and a gust of colder air rose from beneath, carrying a smell like earth after rain. An opening yawned in the floor. Mina leaned forward and peered down. There were steps leading into darkness. A hidden underground door. Mina felt her skin prickle. She should have been scared. She was scared. But something stronger pushed her forward, like a hunger that had been growing inside her since the day she stood at Karim's funeral and realized she did not know everything about the man she married. She looked at Nabil. Did you ever go down? Nabil shook his head quickly. No. Never. He said it was not for us. Then how do you know it's safe? Nabil's mouth tightened. In the desert, nothing is fully safe. But I think you need to see what he hid. Mina stared into the darkness again. She could not see the bottom of the steps. But she could feel cool air moving upward, steady as a slow breath, like the underground was alive. She stood and went back to the house to grab a flashlight. Her hands moved fast, but her mind moved faster. What could Karim have hidden underground? Money. Papers. Something illegal? Something he wanted to protect from thieves? Or something he wanted to protect from her? When she returned, Nabil was waiting by the open slab, his hat held against his chest. Mina noticed his hands were shaking, just slightly. You don't have to come, Mina told him. I should, he said. If something happens, I must be here. Mina did not argue. She stepped onto the first stone stair. The air down there was cooler, and the sound of the wind faded behind her. Her flashlight cut through the dark in a narrow beam, revealing steps carved cleanly into stone. Someone had built this carefully. This was not a simple hiding place made in a hurry. Mina walked down, one step at a time. Nabil followed, his boots scraping lightly. After 10 steps, the staircase turned. Mina's light showed a stone corridor, narrow but smooth, with walls that had been reinforced with wood beams. The beams looked new compared to the old quay. That meant someone had been working down here not long ago. Mina stopped and pressed her palm to the wall. It felt cold, but not wet. The corridor smelled of dust and old air, but there was also something else, a sharp scent like metal. They continued. After a short walk, the corridor opened into a wider underground room. Mina's light swept across the space. She froze. The room was not empty. Along one wall were shelves, carefully arranged. On the shelves were boxes labeled with dates. Some were wrapped in plastic. Some were sealed with tape. A small metal table sat in the center, holding a stack of notebooks and a black folder. And in the far corner, a heavy door made of thick steel stood like a guard. Mina's mouth opened, but no words came out. Nabil whispered, I did not know it was like this. Mina walked toward the table as if pulled by invisible string. The notebooks were clean and neatly stacked. She picked one up. It was heavy. The cover was plain. No name. Just a small symbol stamped in the corner, the same tiny sun mark from the key. Mina opened it. Her flashlight light bounced off neat handwriting. Karim's handwriting. Mina's heart dropped into her stomach. The first page was dated. It was from 5 years ago, 2 years before she met him. Mina flipped through the pages. The writing was careful, detailed, almost like a report. There were notes about shipments, measurements, numbers that did not make sense at first. There were sketches of land maps. There were lists of people's names. Mina's fingers trembled as she turned another page. One name on a list made her breath catch. Her own. Not her married name. Her maiden name. Mina stepped back as if the notebook had burned her. She looked around the underground room again. It felt smaller now, like the walls had moved closer. "How is my name here?" she asked, her voice thin. Nabil looked confused. "Your name." Mina held the notebook up. "Here. My name is here. Before I met him." Nabil's eyes widened. He leaned closer but did not touch it. "That is not possible." But it was possible. It was on the page. Written clearly. Her full name. Her birth year. A city she lived in. Details that were too exact to be a guess. Mina's mind raced. Had Karim been watching her? Had he chosen her on purpose? Had her entire marriage been something planned? She forced herself to breathe. She could not let fear control her. Fear made people blind. She flipped the notebook back to the front page again and read more carefully. There were sections labeled with headings. Karim was organized. He always had been. One heading stood out. Project Ground Light. Mina frowned. Ground Light. She turned another page and found a folded paper clipped inside. She unfolded it with shaking hands. It was a map. Not a normal map with roads and towns. It was a map of the estate land, but drawn with careful markings that showed underground lines. Like tunnels. Like pipes. Like something buried. A red circle was drawn on the far north edge of the property, near the hills. Mina's flashlight hovered over the circle. Beside it, in Karim's handwriting, were 3 words. "Do not open alone." Mina's stomach twisted. She looked at Nabil. Did Karim ever go out to the hills? Nabil nodded slowly. Yes. He went sometimes at night. He said he liked the stars. Mina almost laughed, but it came out like a broken breath. He told me that too. She placed the map on the table and looked at the black folder. Her hands hesitated above it. Part of her wanted to run back upstairs, lock the underground door, and pretend this never happened. But she had already crossed the line. The only way out was through. She opened the folder. Inside were documents in clear sleeves. Official-looking forms. Some had stamps. Some had signatures. Mina skimmed the first page and felt her head spin. It was a land survey report, but it mentioned subsurface structures. She flipped to the next paper. It was a permit application, but the project name was different, and the company listed was one she did not recognize. And then she found a photograph. She pulled it out. The photo showed a younger Karim standing near a hole in the desert ground. He was not smiling. His eyes looked tired, almost haunted. Behind him, the desert was the same, but there were tents and equipment, like a small worksite. Mina's throat tightened. There was another figure in the photo. A man standing a few steps away, partially cut off by the edge of the frame. Mina stared at him. Something about the shape of his face, the way he stood, made a memory stir inside her. Not a clear memory. More like a shadow. Nabil spoke behind her, careful as if he was afraid the room would hear him. "Who is that?" Mina did not answer. She couldn't. Because she recognized the man. Not from the estate. Not from Karim's stories. From her own past. From the day her father disappeared when she was a child. Mina's fingers gripped the photo so hard it bent slightly. "No," she whispered. The underground room felt like it tilted. The cool air pressed on her skin. The sound of her heartbeat filled her ears. She forced herself to look back at the notebook where her name appeared. Her father's name was there too. On the same list. Written under hers. Mina swallowed hard. "Karim knew," she said, more to herself than to Nabil. "He knew before he met me." Nabil's voice was tight. "Knew what?" Mina looked at him, her eyes burning. "That my father was connected to this place. And he never told me. Nabil looked shocked, but Mina could tell he was putting pieces together fast. Mina, maybe there is an explanation. Maybe he wanted to protect you. Mina stared at the steel door in the corner. It looked heavier than the rest of the room. It had a keypad and a thick handle. Or maybe, Mina said slowly, he wanted to protect what was behind that door. She stepped toward it. Nabil reached out. Mina, wait. Mina stopped, her hand hovering near the keypad. There were fingerprints on the metal, faint and smudged. Someone used this door. Maybe Karim. Maybe someone else. Mina turned her head slightly. You said he told you not to ask questions. Nabil nodded. Mina's voice dropped. Did he ever say what would happen if someone opened what was hidden? Nabil's face went pale. He said the truth can ruin people. Mina looked at the door again. The air seemed colder near it, as if the underground itself was warning her. Still, Mina lifted her hand and placed her palm on the steel. It was colder than ice. She closed her eyes for 1 second. Then she opened them and whispered, I'm already ruined if I stay blind. She pulled her hand back from the keypad, breathing hard. She would not guess the code. Not yet. She would find it the right way. Mina turned away from the door and grabbed the notebook again. She scanned pages quickly, searching for patterns, for anything that might lead her. Her eyes landed on a short line, written in the margin near a date. Door code, same as the day she said yes. Mina felt her breath stop. The day she said yes. The day Karim proposed. Her engagement day. He had built a key into their love story. A lock that used her own memory. Mina's hands shook as she closed the notebook. Nabil looked at her. Mina, what is it? Mina stared at the steel door, her mind racing. He used my life as a key, she said softly. And whatever is behind that door is the reason. The underground room seemed to grow quieter, as if it was waiting. Mina took one slow step toward the steel door again. And this time, she did not hesitate. She raised her hand to the keypad, ready to enter the numbers. Because if the truth was buried under the desert, then she was about to dig it up with her own hands. Mina stood in front of the steel door longer than she expected. The keypad was small, black, and worn around certain numbers. That detail alone made her pause. Karim had pressed these keys many times. Enough times to leave marks. Enough times to make this place part of his routine. She closed her eyes and forced herself to remember the day he proposed. It had been simple. No crowd. No loud celebration. Just the two of them sitting near the water at dusk, far from the city. He had seemed nervous, which was rare for Karim. When he asked her, his voice had been steady, but his hand shook slightly. That memory came back sharp and clear. The date followed. Mina opened her eyes and slowly typed the numbers. The keypad beeped once. Nothing happened. Her heart jumped. She swallowed and tried again, checking each number carefully. She pressed the final digit and pulled her hand back. This time, the keypad beeped twice. There was a deep click inside the door. Nabil gasped softly behind her. The steel door unlocked. Mina did not open it right away. Her chest felt tight, and her legs felt heavy, like the underground was pressing down on her. She placed her hand on the handle and felt a faint vibration, almost like something was running behind the wall. Once you open it, Nabil said quietly, there is no closing what you learn. Mina nodded. I know. She pulled the handle. The door opened inward with a low sound, revealing another underground space. This one was different. Brighter. Cleaner. Soft white lights lined the ceiling, powered by cables running along the walls. The air smelled filtered, almost sterile, like a place meant to preserve something. Mina stepped inside. The room was large, carved deeper into the rock. Along the walls were tall cabinets made of metal and glass. Screens were mounted above a long work table. At the center of the room stood something that made Mina stop breathing. A thick glass chamber. Inside it were layers of rock and soil, cut cleanly to reveal what lay beneath the ground. Metal pipes ran through it. Cables. Structures that looked too precise to be natural. Mina walked closer. "This is not storage," she whispered. Nabil shook his head slowly. "No. This is work." Mina looked at the screens. Most were dark, but one flickered faintly, showing a diagram similar to the map she found earlier. Underground lines glowed softly, forming a network beneath the estate. The desert was not empty. It was built over. Mina's mind raced. What did he find? Nabil rubbed his face with one hand. "I do not know. But I know this land was ignored for a reason. Old stories. People said strange things happened here long before your husband bought it." "What kind of things?" Nabil hesitated. "Lights under the sand. Sounds at night. Men who came and left quickly. No one stayed long." Mina thought of the heading in the notebook. Project Ground Light. She moved to one of the cabinets and opened it. Inside were carefully labeled samples. Rocks. Soil. Pieces of metal sealed in bags. Each label had coordinates and dates. She picked up one bag and held it to the light. The metal inside was unlike anything she had seen. It was smooth but dark, with a faint shine that did not reflect light normally. It almost absorbed it. "This doesn't look like anything from the surface," Mina said. Nabil leaned closer but did not touch it. "Is it dangerous?" Mina shook her head slowly. "I don't know." She closed the cabinet and turned back to the table. On it lay another notebook, thicker than the others. This one had a red stripe on the spine. She opened it. The writing inside was more rushed. Less careful. Karim's neat hand had grown tense, the lines sharper. Mina read silently. He wrote about discovering an underground structure while surveying the land. He described it as old beyond records, and not fully natural. He wrote about strange energy readings, about light patterns appearing underground when the desert cooled at night. Her breath caught when she reached another passage. "I am not the first to find this," Karim had written. "Others were here before me. Some vanished. Some were silenced. This place attracts attention, and attention is dangerous." Mina flipped pages faster. Karim wrote about investors who wanted access. About officials who asked too many questions. About refusing to sell information. Then she reached the part that made her hands shake. "I needed someone I could trust. Someone not already tied to this land. Someone whose past intersected with this place before I understood it." Mina closed her eyes. He had chosen her. Not only for love. For this. Nabil watched her face closely. "Mina, what does it say?" "He was protecting something," she said. "And hiding it from everyone. Even me." "Why you?" Mina opened the notebook again and read aloud, her voice steady but quiet. "Because her father came here years ago. Because his disappearance was not an accident." Nabil's eyes widened. "Your father worked here?" Mina nodded. "He was an engineer. He traveled for work. One day, he never came back." She walked to the glass chamber again. The layered earth inside it felt like a frozen moment in time. She traced a finger along the glass, following one of the underground lines. "What if he found this too?" Mina said. "What if this place took him?" Nabil shifted uncomfortably. "Or someone took him." Mina turned to him. "You said Karim became another man when people asked questions." "Yes. Did he ever seem afraid?" Nabil thought carefully. "Not afraid. Prepared." That word echoed inside Mina. Prepared. She returned to the notebook and kept reading. Karim wrote about building the underground rooms slowly, carefully, over years. He wrote about keeping records hidden. About locking information behind personal memories no one else could guess. And then she found the final entry. It was dated just 1 week before his death. "If something happens to me," he wrote, "she will come here. Curiosity will lead her underground. If she reads this, it means I failed to finish what I started." Mina's throat tightened. "There are others who know parts of the truth," Karim continued. "They will come. They always do. Trust no one who rushes you. Trust the land. Trust the light." Mina closed the notebook slowly. Nabil spoke first. "Others will come?" "Yes," Mina said. "And they may not wait for permission." As if the underground heard her, a faint sound echoed through the room. A low vibration. Both of them froze. The lights flickered once. Mina looked at the ceiling. "Did you feel that?" Nabil nodded. "Yes." The vibration grew stronger for a moment, then faded. Mina's heart raced. "Is something active down here?" She rushed to the screens and pressed a button on one of the panels. To her surprise, the screen lit up fully. Data appeared, numbers scrolling slowly. The underground lines on the map pulsed faintly. Nabil stepped back. "Mina, maybe we should leave." "Not yet," Mina said. She leaned closer to the screen. One area on the map glowed brighter than the rest. The red-circled location near the hills. The same one marked on the folded map. Mina remembered the warning. "Do not open alone." She looked at Nabil. "This place connects to something deeper. Not just this room." Nabil's voice was tight. "Then why show you now?" Mina answered without hesitation. Because Karim knew he was running out of time. A sharp sound echoed above them. "Not underground. From the surface." Nabil's eyes widened. That sounded like a vehicle. Mina's blood ran cold. "No one is supposed to be here." They both went silent, listening. Footsteps echoed faintly through the stairway. More than one set. Mina turned off the screen quickly and closed the notebook, pressing it against her chest. "Someone followed us," Nabil whispered. Mina's mind moved fast. They didn't know about the door. Not for sure. If they did, they would have come straight here. The footsteps stopped above. Voices murmured, low and urgent. Nabil leaned close. "What do we do?" Mina looked around the underground room. The steel door was still open. She moved quietly and closed it, locking it again. The voices above grew louder. "They're searching," Nabil said. Mina took a breath. "Then we don't let them find this place." She scanned the room quickly and noticed another narrow passage near the back wall, partially hidden behind a cabinet. It was small, but wide enough for a person. "Is that on the map?" Nabil asked. Mina shook her head. "No." Which means it was meant as an escape. She grabbed the notebook with the red stripe and slipped it into her bag. Then she turned to the glass chamber one last time. The underground lines pulsed again, faint but steady. "Trust the light," she whispered. Mina gestured to Nabil. "This way." They moved into the narrow passage just as footsteps reached the underground door outside. Metal scraped against metal. Someone was trying the handle. Mina and Nabil moved silently through the passage as the sound of forced entry echoed behind them. The tunnel sloped upward, twisting through rock. Mina's flashlight flickered, but she kept going, her heart pounding. Behind them, voices echoed through the underground room. "They found the door," Nabil whispered. Mina clenched her jaw. "Then we're already ahead." The tunnel ended at a small ladder leading up to a hidden hatch covered in sand and brush. Mina pushed it carefully. Moonlight spilled in. They emerged into the cool desert night, far from the house, near the base of the hills. Mina looked back once, toward the estate, where faint lights now moved like restless eyes. "This isn't over," she said. Nabil nodded. "No. This is just the beginning." Mina stared toward the hills, toward the place marked on the map. Whatever lay beneath the desert had already taken her father. It had shaped her husband's life. And now, it was calling her. The desert night was colder than Mina expected. The sand held the day's heat, but the air near the hills carried a sharp edge. Mina stood still for a moment, listening. The estate lights glowed far behind them, moving slowly, searching. Whoever had arrived was careful. That worried her more than loud panic would have. Nabil adjusted his hat and looked toward the hills. The marked place is that way. Mina nodded. She held the red-striped notebook tight against her side. It felt heavier now, like it carried more than paper. It carried choices. They walked carefully, keeping low, following a dry path that curved between rocks. Mina remembered Karim talking about these hills. He used to say they were older than memory. She had smiled then, thinking it was just poetry. Now it felt like a warning. After 20 minutes, they reached a shallow dip in the land. From above, it would look empty. But Mina felt it before she saw it. The air changed. The ground felt firmer under her feet, less loose, almost shaped. She turned on her flashlight and swept the beam slowly. There. A faint outline in the sand. A metal edge half buried, shaped like a long oval. A hatch, Nabil whispered. Mina crouched and brushed sand away with her hands. The metal was smooth and dark, the same strange color as the sample she saw underground. No rust. No cracks. It looked untouched by time. She opened the notebook and flipped to the folded map. The red circle matched this spot exactly. "Do not open alone," she said softly. Nabil looked around. "You are not alone." Mina met his eyes and nodded. She placed both hands on the metal edge and pulled. At first, nothing happened. Then the hatch shifted with a low sound, like deep stone moving far below. A seam appeared. Cool air flowed upward, carrying a faint glow. Light. Not from her flashlight. From below. Mina's breath caught. "Ground light," she whispered. The hatch opened fully, revealing a sloped passage leading down. Soft white light lined the walls, pulsing slowly, like a calm heartbeat. Nabil stared. "This was here long before us." Mina stepped inside. The passage was wide and smooth, carved with care. Not rushed. Not crude. They walked downward, the light guiding them. Mina felt no fear now. Only focus. The passage opened into a vast underground chamber. Mina stopped. The space was enormous. The ceiling arched high above, supported by stone pillars shaped with precise lines. The walls glowed faintly, not from lamps, but from the stone itself. At the center stood a structure unlike anything Mina had seen. It was circular, layered, and alive with light. Bands of glowing lines ran across it, flowing slowly, shifting like calm water. Nabil whispered, "What is it?" Mina approached slowly. A source. She remembered Karim's notes. Energy readings. Light patterns. Subsurface structures. This was the heart of it. This place was built to study it, Mina said. Or protect it. As she stepped closer, the light brightened slightly, responding to her presence. Nabil stepped back. "It reacts to you." Mina placed her hand near the surface, not touching. The light grew warmer. Then she heard it. A voice. Not spoken. Felt. Memories flashed through her mind. Her childhood home. Her father smiling as he packed for a trip. His promise to bring her a small stone from the desert. Tears filled her eyes. "He was here," she whispered. "My father." The light shifted again. Images formed in her mind, clearer now. Her father standing in this chamber, younger, curious, amazed. Writing notes. Touching the stone. Then others arriving. Men in dark clothes. Demands. Arguments. Fear. Mina stepped back, gasping. Nabil caught her arm. "Mina." "They wanted control," she said. "This place creates energy. Clean. Powerful. Not like anything above ground. Nabil frowned. Why hide it? Because it can change everything, Mina replied. And people destroy what they rush to own. Footsteps echoed from the passage behind them. Voices. The men from the estate had followed. Nabil turned sharply. They found us. Mina looked toward the passage. Flashlights flickered in the distance. She looked back at the glowing structure. The light pulsed faster, brighter. Karim's words echoed in her mind. Trust the land. Trust the light. Mina took a steady breath and stepped forward. She placed her palm against the glowing surface. The chamber responded instantly. The light surged, filling the room, not blinding, but clear and strong. The air hummed softly, vibrating through the ground. The men froze at the entrance, shouting in confusion. What did you do? Nabil asked. Mina did not turn. I listened. The structure shifted. Lines of light moved outward, flowing into the pillars, into the walls. A deep sound rolled through the chamber. The passage behind the men sealed itself with moving stone, closing them out. Silence returned. Nabil stared. It protected itself. Mina nodded. And us. The light slowed again, calming. Images filled Mina's mind once more. This time, clearer. Her father choosing to stay behind, not captured, but refusing to leave. Choosing to guard this place from those who would misuse it. Then another image. Karim. Standing here years later. Learning the truth. Continuing the work. Protecting the secret. And choosing Mina. Not as a key, but as a successor. Mina's eyes filled with tears. He knew I would understand, she said softly. Because I lost someone to this place. Just like he did. Nabil's voice was quiet. What happens now? Mina looked around the chamber. We finish what they started. She stepped away from the structure. The light dimmed slightly but remained alive. Mina took the notebook from her bag and placed it gently on a stone ledge. This place does not belong to one person, she said. It belongs to balance. Nabil nodded slowly. And the people above? They will keep searching, Mina said. But they will not find this again. Not unless the light allows it. The chamber began to change. Stone shifted smoothly, sealing passages, redirecting paths. The structure pulsed once more, then settled into a steady glow. The way back opened behind Mina and Nabil, leading toward the surface. They walked upward in silence. When they emerged, dawn was breaking over the desert. The hills glowed soft gold. The estate lay quiet in the distance, untouched. No signs of the men. No tracks. As if the desert had erased them. Nabil looked at Mina. Will you stay? Mina looked at the horizon. Yes, she said. But not the way he did. She turned back once more, feeling the light below, steady and calm. The truth was no longer buried. It was protected. And for the first time since her husband's death, Mina felt something settle inside her. Not closure. Purpose.